So of course, in staying with our themes for the month, I've been thinking all month so far, what does it mean to be grounded? And as I was thinking about it, I kept having this image from Genesis come to me. There's two different stories of the creation of human beings. In chapter 2, it talks about humans as kind of like earth creatures made from the dirt of the earth. And then at the same time, in chapter 1, the very end of chapter 1, it speaks about us being in the image and likeness of the divine. So I like that humus part. You know, do you remember, like, humus stands for, it is the Latin word for soil. So humans come from the soil.
How do you spell that word?
Humus. Humus. A lot of you like to get your hands in the humus right now, right? Not me. It gets my fingernails dirty. So here we are. We're humans from the earth, and we're in the image and likeness of the divine. So which is it? Earth, heaven, spiritual beings, grounded, infinitely. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yes, that is who we are. We are all of that and more. So what does it feel like when you are grounded? I mean, does it make you think of an airplane that's grounded and can't go anywhere? Kind of a little bit stuck? I hope not. Or have we had enough experience with forms of meditation to have it feel like being grounded brings all the scattered parts of ourselves and our thoughts into a calm resting place, a state of being where we gather strength for living? That meditative option, that second one, can happen anytime and in any place. It doesn't have to be on actual ground. Although I do know that there is such a thing as grounding, where you put your feet onto the ground, and that actually brings new energy and healing into your body. But let's talk about a more spiritual grounding. As some of you know, Jackson and I were in Maui a few weeks ago. And the day before we left, we signed up for a 2-hour whale watching tour. I've talked about this with some of you because I was so excited. And it was a small group tour, so there were only 16 of us total on this little boat. And Noah was our captain. I am not kidding. There was not an animal on that boat, okay? And Sylvia was the co-leader. So they let us know that we would definitely see some whales. And if we saw a tail come out of the water, now that was a treat for sure. And if we saw a whale breach, which means it jumps clear out of the water, well, that was gold, because not every tour got to see that. Well, it wasn't long before our first sighting, you know, where that spout of water goes up that shows the whale is near the surface. So we headed over there in our boat and soon discovered ourselves beside a mother and her 6 to 7 week old baby.
Oh, wow.
And the baby was curious and would head our direction and then go back to mom. An escort whale soon showed up. And so for the next hour or so, we stayed in that area and we saw these 2 adults and the baby partially surfacing and going down, sometimes showing us their tails, except for the baby who wasn't strong enough yet to get its tail up out of the water. And yes, we did get to see a breach from not that far away from our boat. It was amazing. You don't take a picture of it unless you are a real photographer, and I've got that. You do it. We learned so much about these humpback whales. They come to the warm waters of Hawaii to mate, and then the next year, when they come back, the females give birth to their young. Though these waters contain nothing that these whales can eat, they eat the things that are in the cold waters up north. They do provide protection from their only predators, which are orcas. And the orcas don't like coming into those warm waters. While they are there, a mother whale loses 1/3 of her body weight in the months that she stays in those warm waters nursing her young. And they only have one young at a time, each female. So she has to get that young one big enough and strong enough to be able to make it all the way back up north to Alaska or wherever up north it is. At one point, we saw another mother and its calf, but soon it went clear off in another direction because the mothers cannot afford to feed another baby beside their own, even accidentally. It takes every bit of energy that they have just to nurse the one that they have. After a while, Sylvia, she had a microphone. And she lowered the microphone into the water so that we could hear the whales singing.
Wow.
What a mystical, kind of eerie sound it was. And we found out that only the males sing. I asked if it was a way of their connecting with their particular pod, but actually humpback whales are pretty solitary, except when they're mating and they're nursing, and then they come alongside each other. And I was told that the humpbacks all around the world sing the same song. And then the next year, they change it somewhat. I loved it when both Sylvia and Noah spoke about the whales being conscious, aware, intelligent beings. And that was when I realized that I felt grounded right there in the middle of the ocean. For I was reminded that I was connected with everything, with it all. That's one way I love to talk about God, the infinite, it all. And isn't that what becoming grounded is about? It's coming back to who we are as part of this infinite cosmos. We are one with the one. I think it might have been on Facebook a while back that I saw a picture of the biggest puzzle in the world. It was 28,000 some pieces, and it was a picture of a map of the world. And can you imagine getting to the end of putting that puzzle together and one piece was gone? Well, it just wouldn't be complete, would it? Well, we are, each of us, a crucial, beloved part of this intricate puzzle called life. Our presence, each one of us, makes a difference to the whole. We are not it all, yet we are a fractal of it. Look that up, a fractal of it, in the image and likeness of pure consciousness. Now sometimes we focus on the humble part of being human, and I would call it a false humility. We're telling ourselves we really don't matter much. Doesn't matter if I'm here, doesn't matter if I'm part of that. Cut that out. Your energy of love and kindness, of compassion and creativity are a built-in part of our world. We need you. We need each other. We need everyone. Eugene Holder is a science of mind practitioner, and I want to share one of his daily guides that was in February. Science of Mind is now called Centers for Spiritual Living, and it was started by Ernest Holmes. He was the next generation after the Fillmores who founded Unity. but they're like cousins to unity. And so he says, isn't this great? Coming to the awareness that we are all part of the whole. As we take time to recognize our surroundings, we see we are part of the trees. We're one with the birds flying in the air. We're one with our neighbors and our co-workers. It's beautiful to think that we are each connected with this thing called life. And this thing called life has really set us up to achieve things. Being part of the whole means we have the whole universe behind us. As we think about what we desire and then put intention to make that desire manifest, the whole universe backs our desires. Why? Because we are part of the whole. And here's a question for you, he says. Knowing you are backed by the universe, what good are you going to present to the world today? Knowing you cannot fail, what dreams, visions, and gifts are you willing to share with the world? Once you say yes to being the conduit for the fulfillment of your dreams and visions, know that you are divinely supported. The only thing you are called to do is to show up. Oh, and one more thing, he says. You've got this. 23 of us are about to complete our 7-week Prosperity Plus 3 class, where we've been reminded again and again that our thoughts are powerful in creating our reality. I don't know about you, but I find that some days my thoughts are not entirely focused on love, goodness, or anything very positive. Sometimes I'm filled with fear about the future for all of us in our very world. It is then that we most need to dream and envision the world we desire. The clearer I get with my visions, the more I can incorporate those visions in my everyday thoughts, and the more I will be shown what is mine to do to bring those beautiful visions to life. And if I'm doing that, and you're doing that, and people in other New Thought places are doing that all around the world, and people that aren't even in New Thought but are raising their own consciousness, can you imagine what we can bring forth? You know what helps? Being in a community like this. A place where we are learning to check our thoughts and move from fear to love, from scarcity to infinite possibilities for good. We don't all think alike, and that's fine. What we have going for us is our grounding in divine love, which knows no boundaries, no judgment, no limits. That's what I want to ground myself upon. Just as Paul said to a struggling community of believers in his letter to the Ephesians, he prayed that they might be rooted and grounded in love. Everything belongs either to teach us or to encourage us. As Rumi says in The Guest House, this being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of the furniture. Still treat each guest honorably. It may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from the beyond. The universe is constantly bringing us new experiences that expand us, that help us to grow. They don't all feel good, but they are all good. Rooted and grounded in infinite love that holds all things together. I think Eugene Holder was right. We've got this.
Yeah.